Hey everyone, this is Carter McKinney here at the Yorktown Hotel in York, Pennsylvania. I'm here with Jennifer Foxworthy. This is the first episode of the Entrepreneurs Club podcast. So thank you for tuning in. And we're really excited to have Jennifer, take time out of her busy schedule to sit down with us and talk about her experience as an entrepreneur. I met Jennifer at the Wind Creek Bethlehem Hotel and Casino for a conference. She was a speaker. She got up there at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and she kind of just got up there and she was pretending like she wasn't up to anything different. And then she brings out pom-poms. Woo! Maybe I'll flash a clip of that, but it was great. Like, the conference was kind of quiet. It was in the morning for breakfast and coffee, and it was just a really interesting moment. So that caught my attention. And then what kept it was she is a serial entrepreneur. She's a Navy vet, correct? And she is a domestic abuse thriver as well. So she is a multifaceted individual, entrepreneur, and perfect for the first episode of the podcast. So thank you, Jennifer. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Carter, you are absolutely phenomenal, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. You got it all right. Jennifer Foxworthy. I am a wife, a mother. I am a retired Navy veteran who served our country proudly for 21.7 years. I'm a motivational speaker, corporate trainer, and like you said, a serial entrepreneur. And I'm honored to be here to help get the word out and maybe encourage someone who's on their entrepreneur journey.
Absolutely. Yes. I love that. That's exactly what this podcast is all about, because someone like myself, I'm also an entrepreneur. I have multiple businesses, ventures, and stuff like that. And I sometimes forget that what I think is common knowledge is totally not common knowledge. And even if it's just the confidence, people often, compliment me for my energy. It's contagious. It makes me believe in myself, and it just makes me want to be around you. So compliments like that do so much for me, and I'm sure they do for you. So why don't you tell me a little bit about confidence and, maybe shed some light as, a person of color, a woman in the military and in business, about how that has affected your journey and, focusing on the stuff you can control to, comment on confidence and your journey in that way. Confidence.
I think confidence is absolutely huge as an entrepreneur, because it's how you're going to sell your business, your services. If you don't come across confident, then people are not going to be willing to financially contribute to your business or to your passion. It could be a passion and purpose all day long, but it has to be delivered with confidence. And for me, serving in the military for that length of time, you just can't go in there with a weak mindset. You have to, they train you for a mission and a vision. And it's one fight, one team, you're unified. However, because we're in that military, I need to be able to trust my colleagues with my life and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So that's where that confidence comes. And then I translate that into the entrepreneur world, because I just don't want to, if people are giving their hard-earned money for a service that I'm trying to provide,
yes,
I want them to come back. I want them to be able to provide recommendations and testimonials that Jennifer is rock solid and confident and sure, and provide that testimonial so that it's a relationship. And that's where that confidence comes into play.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. And I would also really like to hear you touch on, for those people that haven't gotten started yet, that have that vision, that have that idea. And that's what entrepreneurship starts with. It starts with that passion, right? That passion of that idea that, hey, is this viable? Is the market research proven that I can make a career out of this, or it's worth my time and energy and finance? So can you touch on getting started, some words of encouragement, and maybe some tips and tricks that have helped you when you were first starting your entrepreneurial journey.
When I started, so I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I realized in the military that there was something I was saying that people were holding on to, but I had to hone that skill. And I found out about Toastmasters International, which is an international public speaking program. And when I looked into it, I was like, okay, this may be something I can get behind. People need to know their why. So for me, I can join Toastmasters and I can give speeches. I can get constructive feedback from my speeches, which is going to help my communication skills. So I went from a podium speaker, typing out a speech, read, look up a little bit, read, look up a little bit. Now I can walk the stage methodically. I can jot down some notes or keep it in my head and give something that the audience is going to hold on to. Visual aids, vocal variety, eye contact, all of these things are necessary for a motivational speaker or just someone who's giving an elevator pitch to someone who they're looking to invest and want them to invest in. So people, that's where the confidence comes in, and that confidence is going to come when you hone your craft. People think, oh, I can just get up to a microphone and just talk. No, you got less than 30 seconds to hold that audience's attention. So how do I do that? I do that by visual aids. I do that by a quote or a short story. And this is more than just motivational speaking. These tips can be used for any type of service, for any type of business, whether you're selling plumbing equipment, selling books, selling technology, whatever that is. Why should someone invest in you vice the other person? Not saying that you're better than them, but it comes down to integrity, character, and confidence.
I love that. And this is a perfect segue into talking about your author journey, you being an author. So I had the privilege of purchasing your book, getting it signed, and sharing it with my fiance Ashley. So it was definitely great to be able to purchase your book and hear your story and attend one of your speeches. But for those of you that haven't had a chance to hear you speak, for those of you that haven't read your book, can you share a little bit about your book and how it was to become an author? I'm someone that is an aspiring author, so I haven't written a book yet, but I'm looking to put one out in the next year. So how does that look like? How do you get published? What kind of budget do you have to become an author? Just shed some light on your book, plug it, and let's talk.
So I wrote and self-published my first book in 2014 titled Tomorrow My Sunshine Will Come, Memoirs of Women Who Survived Domestic Violence. And because I grew up with low self-esteem, bullied, and found myself in intimate partner violence, abusive relationships throughout my young childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, I allowed others to define my truth, my reality, and everything else because I was looking for love and acceptance in all the wrong places. Then, once I got out of that relationship, which was 5.5 years, I dealt with shame and guilt. So it's a 180 compared to who I am now. When I found out the statistics, Carter, that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will be in a severe physical abusive relationship in their lifetime, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And there is power there. I wish I was alone because I wouldn't want anybody to deal with domestic violence. However, it gave reason to the shame and the guilt. It kind of gave release from having it.
Yes, you didn't feel alone.
So I was like, if I felt shame and guilt, how many others are suffering in silence? And what can I say and do to encourage them? It's not your fault. No one should ever put their hands on you or mistreat you, and to help them move forward. So I was like, I'm going to publish my book. I'm going to write my story. It was just supposed to be a memoir of myself. But then as I was putting it in the atmosphere and sharing, and I was just shortly retired from the Navy, I had women that I was stationed with and knew saying, me too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you were in an abusive relationship? So fast forward, how did I decide? I had no experience of writing a book. I didn't really know of anyone who wrote a book. I just knew I wanted to just start. And I started researching, do I publish traditionally? Do I self-publish? And I wrote down pros and cons. With a traditional publishing, you got to submit the manuscript, the application, and it could be a long process.
How long could that process be?
I never took that journey, but it could be years.
Wow.
Because you're shopping your book out to different publishing companies. And if you are not a well-known name, if it's not a topic that they're interested in, there's so many nuances. And then I'm like, you know what? When you do traditional publishing, they send you a bulk of books. And I did not want my garage filled with a bunch of books that now I have to move. I want to be able to purchase author copies, so self-publishing. There was a self-publishing company called CreateSpace. They were affiliated with Kindle. And so I went through them and had someone assigned to me that helped me with the journey. I had a friend that designed the cover. I then found someone to do the interior design of the book, the layout, the little embellishments. So many things go a long way to make a book legitimate as if it was traditionally published. But I did the legwork, I did the research, I looked at reviews, I asked for recommendations, and even getting the Library of Congress number. That's vital as a self-published author, because now my book is listed in the Library Control Congress because it has a control number. So just because you self-publish doesn't mean your book has to look mediocre. Mm-hmm. There's ways to go about it, make it look legit. And that's what I did. So those are the tips that I would give your audience, is do the research, do pros and cons. Do you want to have more control? Now I purchase author copies when I need through Kindle, and my book is out there online. So not only Amazon, but Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all those platforms. But I move more books when I sell them in person, because it's that personal connection, yes. Much like you mentioned. Absolutely.
You hear your speech.
Exactly.
Yeah, they want to buy books.
They want to buy books. Yes. So I actually move more books personally at events than I do online. And I also have it available ebook as well. People like that or technology, they like downloading it on their iPad or whatever. That's great. I like the physical, tangible. So there's exactly to each your own. So if I was going to give any tips and tricks to your audience, it would be do the legwork. Don't be lazy. If you believe in this book, you need to be able to do the research and get people behind you that have the business, graphic designers, interior graphic designers that can help you lay out the book, editors, all that stuff. I learned so much from the editor. So I could go on, but I want to be able to give this back to you. This is your show.
This is great. This is your show. This is your chance to come in, and we're spotlighting you right now. So definitely, I want to segue a little bit of elaboration, please, on the Library of Congress. Like, I'm not too privy on what that's all about, but I'm sure it's a great honor to be a part of that. So your books are in the physical is it a physical Library of Congress?
So yes, it is.
And how you got about getting in there?
So most of your books that have been traditionally published, if you look in at least the first page, the copyright page, it will say LCN, Library Control Congress number, so LCCN. And there's a series of numbers. When you go that route, it's then registered in the Library Control Congress. And that means, now obviously you would have to trademark or copyright, but it makes it harder for someone to steal your literary works, because it's a number, a federal number, because the Library Control Library of Congress is a federally funded entity. And so you want to be able to protect your literary works. So that's one way to do it. But you also should follow up legally to get it copyright, trademark, the title, all of those things. It costs money though, but having a Library Control Congress number, it's a part of the self-publishing or traditional publishing thing. But not many people who self-publish know to go that extra step to get that number and to add it onto the page. So again, it's necessary to make it look legit as if you publish traditionally.
Very nice. I love that.
You can do it on your own.
So if we could ask, how long did it take you from start to finish to get your final draft and publish the book? And roughly, like, how much does this cost, like in whatever you can share?
So it cost me, from all the people that I hired, start to finish, about $980. No, now that was back in 2014. So the prices have gone up. However, it took me 1.5 years from start to finish. And the only reason being, I was interviewing 5 other survivors of domestic violence. And many times I was meeting them in person, or I was capturing their story through a tape recorder over the phone. And many of them were sharing their story for the first time. So because the issue was sensitive, I needed to work with their timing as they processed and shared. So that's why it took me at least 1.5 years. And it's not a anthology. It's actually a memoir. So I captured their story and I wrote and told their story on their behalf. And I believe I used first person. And so I'm like, okay, Jamaica's story.
Yeah.
And Jamaica, so yeah, I did it in first person, as if just writing and sharing your story for them.
As if they were speaking.
As if they were speaking, absolutely. Exactly. So authors, budding authors, all you gotta do is start typing. Come up with a catchy title. Make sure it's not something that's already used. I would say pray about it. I'm a woman of faith. Pray about it. What is it? Because the title alone is going to catch people's attention, as well as the book cover. And then you definitely an editor. So if funds are tight, Budget it out. It doesn't have to, you don't do it all by yourself. I've seen authors where they do it all by themselves to include the editing, and because they're so eager to get it out, and the book has so many grammatical errors, the layout isn't even, the information could be great inside, but the delivery, the book itself looks like choppy. You don't want that. You want to come off professional. If someone is giving me $15, that's their hard-earned money. They're entrusting me as a professional, as an author, as an entrepreneur, that I'm coming with something. And then when they open a cover and it looks like garbage, or it's a title that's been used 20 other times with other authors, but you want me to invest in this? I love you. I wish for your success, but come on.
Yes, I love that. That was really valuable, because a lot of people don't have a ton of discretionary funds to be able to pay, all these fees to huge publishing houses, let alone the time. People are busy. They're working full-time jobs, multiple jobs, businesses, in school. So, definitely your story of, working on your book in under 2 years, at the time paying under $1,000, that makes it really approachable for people. I want to jump back over to your military experience. So if you can share like a little bit with the people about, your position in the military, because it's sounding like you were almost like a higher or leadership position in a certain way. You had people reporting to you. So if you can go over that, because that's something even for me, the military positions and ranks were always a little confusing to me. But if you could talk about your rank and, some things that, you're able to share, and then we'll finish off with talking a little bit about your businesses. You're someone that offers products and services. So, and from my understanding, you're living in Maryland right now. You're from York, PA here. So you're semi-national. I don't know where else you're working, or if it's just here in the East Coast in this region. So your military.
So my military career. So my first 4 years, I was an ocean systems tech analyst, which meant that I detected, localized, and tracked enemy ships and submarines. And I did that from a shore duty location. So my first duty station was Adak, Alaska. Right off of Adak, Alaska is right off the Aleutian chain. And I was closer to Russia than I was to the mainland of America. I grew up quick, and I couldn't readily always get home. The people I worked with became my family. Then my next 14 years, so I decided, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. Opportunity presented itself where I could do that job, but in an airplane. So I went to the training as a naval air crewman, and I went through avionics technician, which meant I could work on electronics in airplanes. So that mission equipment. So I was an in-flight technician, and I did that in 3 different Navy squadrons. And because of my gender and skin color, I was the first in each of those squadrons due to those characteristics. Being the first is never easy or comfortable because change is hard to come by. But that's where that confidence, resilience, I've had a lot of adversity, but I truly believe integrity and character can carry a person a long way. Matter of fact, it's like a credit score. Your debt will determine if your credit card goes up, or if your credit score goes up, or if it goes down. Same way with integrity and character. It allows people to trust me and lean in, or you know what, you're toxic and chaotic and I'm leaning out and I don't even want anything to do with you. So I tell people integrity and character can take you a long way. So during that time frame, I worked my way up through the leadership ladder enlisted. I was not officer, enlisted. I retired as an E7, which is a chief petty officer in the Navy. So that was definitely high up in the enlisted ranks. I had an office full of guys under me, and I was their chief, and I earned their respect. I was about to say they gave me the respect, but I earned that respect. Cultivating unity and work ethic was important, and I needed to be that example. Was I always operating with integrity and character? Not always during my younger years of military, but I learned, and I had great mentors. I observed. I even had leadership where I'm like, oh my gosh, you're horrible. Yeah. I'm thinking you're horrible. When I get to your point, I'm not even going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I flew combat missions in 3 different wars: Kosovo, Afghanistan, and Iraq. In totality, I've logged over 3,700 flight hours. Many times I was the only woman or the only person of color in the airplane, and it's a crew of 18 many times. I've seen some things during those tours and flying combat missions. So I'm in the airplane, and if anything malfunctioned with the mission equipment, they look to me to repair it in flight so we can continue on looking for the bad guys or whatever we were doing. So that's a lot of pressure. But we all worked as a unit. So we trained together, we worked together, and so it just wasn't all on my shoulders. However, many times I'm one of the senior people in the airplane, and these junior sailors are looking at me for guidance, or I also need to be able to delegate. So delegation, motivation is necessary. So that's the military career. I finished my career. That was 14 years. I wanted to continue to my military career doing something bigger than myself. I was tired of working on airplanes. I wanted to be able to start a family. I just got married. And so I became I went through the training and became a certified substance abuse rehabilitation program counselor. So that meant in the military. So that meant that I provided counseling to our service members and their families who were experiencing addiction and abuse. Again, it's about that big picture. It's not about me. It's about how can God use me and with the skills and the gifting that he's bestowed upon me. And I love people. I want to see people win. And when you met me, that was the reason why I brought out the pom-poms. Number one, they're not expecting it. Number two, I need to be able to liven it up that morning. People are just getting started, getting their coffee, breakfast, and everything. But I always tell people, I'm cheering for them. I'm cheering for myself. Because sometimes when nobody else is clapping, you gotta clap and cheer your own self on. And especially as an entrepreneur, there are going to be times where it's lonely and you feel like nobody understands me, or I'm doggy paddling, keeping my head afloat. I'm not making money. This doesn't make sense. I'm struggling. What is going on? But it's a belief in yourself and an opportunity to reinvent yourself and be in the circles where people will celebrate you and not tolerate you. And that's what it's all about. So many times as an entrepreneur, not everyone is going to come alongside and understand the drive, the passion, or you're doing too much, or you're doing too little, or they don't get it. And that's fine. It's not meant for everybody to get. I tell people briefly that there's 3 types of people in your boat. And your boat is your life. You got the rower. That is someone who they may not understand the vision, but they understand you, and they are rowing in the direction. And they are maybe sometimes the ones that are in the front saying, hey, or maybe they're the ones in the back that got your back. Hey, look out for that rock. Look out for that cliff. Look out for this. They're the ones when you got the blinders on, but they are in the back seeing the big picture, where they're going to just cheer you on and help you stay clear. Hey, you could have said that a little bit better, giving you that constructive feedback, but with a little bit of honey. Then the second person is the sleeper. The sleeper is the person who they are sleeping on their purpose, and because they're sleeping on their purpose, they can't even support your purpose. And their snoring is like a distraction, because they're the ones, oh, let's go to the party. Let's do this. Let's do that, taking you away from the big picture. And they can't even clap and cheer you on. And then you got the driller. The driller is the person with the serpent tongue behind the pearly white teeth. They're in your boat, kind of tagging along, but they're not cheering. They're not guiding. They're not doing anything. They're secretly drilling holes in your boat, talking about you, gossiping. And then when your boat begins to take on water, they jump out, and they're the ones, I told you so. I don't even know why you tried that. Look at you, you failed. Clapping on the edge while your boat goes down. And it's necessary to recognize and identify all three types of people. So I share that with your audience. I have a blog about who's in your boat. In this entrepreneur life, whether you're an author, whatever it is that you feel your purpose to do, you do it boldly. My tagline for my for-profit is focused, intentional, and thriving. Let's get fit. So us military folks, we make an acronym out of everything. So let's get fit. FIT stands for focused, intentional, and thriving. Keep your eye on the big picture. Stay focused, be intentional. Therefore, you can thrive. I want your audience to not just survive, but thrive. And there's a difference. And I learned this coming from out of domestic violence. A victim can go to survivorship, which means I'm just existing. I don't want people to just exist. I don't want to exist. I don't want you to exist. Finding purpose from the pain will then propel you from surviving to thriving. And that's the difference. Thriving means I'm focused, I'm being intentional. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to put myself in the circles. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to do the legwork to where I'm thriving. And then ultimately, I got that joy within that no matter what, you can't take it away. You didn't give it to me. And I'm going to work this thing out. And if I need to pivot, it's okay to pivot.
I love that. I love that so much. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. And I just want to close with talking a little bit about your different businesses, what they are, what's different about each of them. And then we talked a little bit about delegation, right? So you delegated from the military side of things. And I'm sure you, even if it's one or two team members, I'm not sure how big your team is or your teams are. But if you could talk about a little bit more about delegation, more on the side of your businesses and what your businesses are, where we can find them and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So my for-profit is Inspirationally Speaking, LLC. I am a motivational speaker, corporate trainer, and published author. So that is what brings the money into my pocket, into my home to support my family. I am a small business vendor, so I'm actively looking for government contracts, but I love collaboration over competition. So I have topics that can benefit many organizations, but I'm not going to talk about something that I'm not familiar with, like finances. I'm not your person. If it's about overcoming adversity, if it's about leadership, if it's about emotional intelligence, if it's about human trafficking or domestic violence, I can talk about those things. I have topics, and they all get approved for credit education units, CEUs. Many of your professionals, like healthcare or whatever, they always need to renew their license, and so that's important. On on my nonprofit side is Unstoppable You Ministries. We provide services to individuals and families dealing with domestic violence, human trafficking, and homelessness. One person can experience all three. I am grateful I have an incredible supportive board. There's 7 of us, but I also have volunteers because we host a lot of events. This is where delegation comes into play. Now, Carter, I had to learn a hard lesson earlier in my nonprofit experience because I had that military mindset of, well, everybody understands the mission. I don't need to say, hey, can you? If you want to go home, we jump in, we take care of this, and then we go home. As a civilian, you got to actually ask for what you need. They're not mind readers. And it can, especially, I'm not born in Maryland. So to try and penetrate these small rural areas was tough. It took years, and it meant showing up to different networking events, being a part of the chamber, making phone calls and emails and things like that. But with delegation, when you got a good group of people who are rowing in the same direction that you want to go, then I can delegate. I don't have to micromanage. That's the beauty of delegating. When you have capable people in your circle who understand the mission and vision, you don't have to micromanage. That means I trust my group, that they understand what's going on. They keep me abreast. They give me updates. But I'm like, hey, you go ahead. You know what your assignment is, your position. Do what you got to do. Just update me. And that reduces burnout. So when entrepreneurs, when they don't seek help, when they try to believe that everybody's a mind reader and they're not, when they want to micromanage and expect perfectionism, their flame will burn out. And then you will begin to resent people, that job, and everything that they were called to do. So it's important to just find the right people. And then, hey, are we all on the same page? Okay. You give them little tasks at a time, see how well they do with it. And then you give them more and more and more. And that's what it's about. That's leadership, because I can follow just as well as I can lead. And that's what being an entrepreneur is about, especially when you got a nonprofit. You cannot do everything yourself. You have to trust the people that you're bringing in.
I love that. That is so valuable. And I know that so many people in the audience are also going to find that valuable. So thank you so much, Jennifer. I know you're so busy. You got to get back to your conference and all those things. So thank you so much. Just one more time. This has been the Entrepreneurs Club podcast. This is the first episode. This is very, very cool. I drove 2 hours to come out here, and a testament to the entrepreneurial mindset. I had some things and plans and equipments that were set up for this that weren't working. So I had to figure it out, because we wanted to capture this valuable information for you. And that is the epitome of entrepreneurial life. So please, Jennifer, just one more time, sign off, talk about yourself and where we can find you.
So Jennifer Foxworthy coming to you at the Yorktown Hotel in York, Pennsylvania, sitting with the amazing Carter McKinney. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. So those are my 3 social medias that you can find me. Not a lot of Jennifer Foxworthys, especially one of color. So definitely, if you see my picture, you got the right one. If you're looking for a motivational speaker or a corporate trainer to take you and your agency to the next level, check out www.inspirationally, that's 2 L's, speaking.com. If you are interested in my nonprofit, Unstoppable You Ministries, maybe you're someone dealing with domestic violence, human trafficking, homelessness. You just want to know more about those causes, those social ills that so many people experience, visit our website, www.unstoppableyouministries.org. Again, you can Google these agencies. You can Google my name. And I'd be more than happy to help or assist in any way possible. But this has been an absolute honor, and I hope and pray that this has been beneficial for you as well.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much, Jennifer. If all goes well, this episode should be coming out on Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Follow Jennifer Foxworthy. Get on LinkedIn. If you're a new business owner, get on LinkedIn. Sometimes it could be a little boring for us youngsters or whatever, but get on LinkedIn, add Jennifer Foxworthy and Inspirationally Speaking. Thank you so much. And this has been the Entrepreneurs Club podcast. Please subscribe to the channel and keep up with both of us. I'm Carter McKinney of McKinney Media, and we'll see you next time.